going on, Paul?
Just working some deals, trying to get people on motorcycles. That's kind of what we do here. We try to put people out on new bikes.
That's nice. That's
used
awesome.
bikes, even.
Yeah. Well, even if it's not, the funny thing is, if you get a used bike, it's like it feels like a new bike because I don't know if it's new to you or it's something different.
It's probably new to you. Yeah, I get that. I have an old bike and it feels new to me.
Yeah, you and I are probably the only two guys in this dealership that regularly ride Evo motorcycles.
Wow.
Yeah, I can't think of anyone else. There's a lot of people that have the twin cams. I talked with Charlie. Charlie's got the shovel head that he's been working on that he got. But how long have you been at Southside now?
I've only been here for 2 months.
Okay. Cool. But you've come from other Harley dealerships.
Yeah, I worked at several large dealerships in the greater Los Angeles area. I started off in 1995 just selling bikes part-time, and it just took my life over. I've never had a job where I've been more satisfied.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, we affect people's lives here.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty great feeling when you see somebody and their life change and they ride all the time, and then a wife comes in and gets a leather jacket. And their lives change, and that is the best part about it for me, is affecting people's lives.
Absolutely. You said Los Angeles. Now, tell me about one of the people that you sold a bike to. So tell me an interesting story. You have good stories.
Yeah.
About some of the people you sold bikes to.
So I would say the two most memorable people. One was Ray Liotta.
Awesome.
Yeah, but my favorite customer and the one that I remember the most was Dr. Phil.
Dr. Phil?
Dr. Phil. He walked in and knocked on my door and said, "Are you tall, Paul?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He goes, "Do you mind if I talk to you?" And he came in and shut my door. And I was like, what in the world is going on here? And he told me, he goes, "Look, I know these sales guys, they want to sell a vehicle." But he sits down in the chair right across from me and says, "Why should I buy this motorcycle, Paul?" So I kind of went over with him. I talked to him about, riding and the camaraderie and the wave that you get when you're riding bikes. And he had ridden, Japanese motorcycles, and he had a BMW, but he had never really had the Harley experience. But that man was so genuinely nice.
Really?
And caring. Even though I was taking money out of his pocket, he treated me like I was a friend, and what a wonderful experience. Like I said, Dr. Phil was probably one of my favorite persons. And I sold a lot of bikes to stars. One of the dealerships I was at was, the acronym was the dealership to the stars, because we were so close to Hollywood.
Really?
And the Santa Monica area, so we had a lot of people come in. But Dr. Phil and Ray Liotta were the two that stick out of my mind.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who do you think out of everyone that's purchased a Harley from you, who do you think would be the biggest surprise? If someone said like J. Edgar Hoover or something silly like that, you know what I mean? Like who would be the surprise?
The surprise? Okay, there was one time when I sold a bike to, what is that model's name? She started dating her security guy. Now I'm kind of flustered here. Heidi Klum.
Heidi
Klum, yes.
You sold her a bike?
Well, I sold her a bike. I sold her security guard a bike. But she came in the process and was there with her marketing people and made myself and the general manager and the salesman all sign a non-disclosure, because she was still going through a divorce at the time, and the divorce hadn't settled, and she was already dating her security guy. So we contracted everything in his name, so it was all in his name, but she wrote a check for it. And we had to not say anything about it for 6 or 9 months or something. So
you can talk about it now.
I can talk about it now.
That's awesome.
Then, it was like it was odd to actually have to sign a non-disclosure statement. And I'm like, okay.
So like you had paperwork for them to sign, and then she's like, "Yeah, no, I got something for you to sign too."
Yeah,
dude, that's wild.
That's wild.
That's Heidi Klum.
Heidi
Klum. Was she hot in person as she is on TV?
I would say yes. But she came in and she had very little makeup on. She had big sunglasses. She kind of had this not a hoodie, but it was kind of a light sweatshirt hoodie that was on her head.
So, I mean, she wasn't dolled up like she would be
she
on
wasn't,
the red carpet.
But you could tell it was Heidi Klum, and her features are beautiful. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, it was nice.
That's awesome.
And she was total sweetheart, too.
That's great, man. It's nice. It's refreshing to hear that sometimes. Like, the Ray Liotta plays a bad guy a lot of times in movies, so he kind of gets a bad rap. You said he's like one of your favorite people.
One of my favorite people, actually. He came in. He wanted to sell his bike that he got from Wild Hogs, because they gave all the stars a bike from Wild Hogs, and he never rode it. He said it was just too dangerous in LA to ride.
Yeah.
So we agreed on a price of the motorcycle. He took me in his car up to his house, and then I rode his motorcycle back to the dealership.
Dude, that's awesome.
That was really cool. He made me feel welcome, wanted me to drink a beer, but I'm all, dude, I got to ride, so thanks, but no thanks. It was a pretty cool situation,
That's awesome. So
yeah.
he was it the actual bike from the movie?
No, they gave all of them their own personal bike, so it was not one of the movie bikes.
Okay.
But he got a Road King, and it had like 1,200 miles on it, so he rode it a little bit, but that was about it.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, sometimes we get caught up in, like, this person plays a bad guy in a movie, and we forget. They're so good at acting, and we forget that they're not really...
They're not. He was like, he and Dr. Phil were two of the nicest stars that I dealt with. Both of them stick out of my mind.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah, they... You sometimes people are you hear people are bad guys. I can't remember the guy's name. He was on Reservoir Dogs. He was Joe. He played Joe. I forget the actor's name. You know what I'm talking about?
I know
The
who you're
bald
talking
guy.
about, yeah.
The older. They make a joke about him looking like Thing.
Huh?
Yeah, they said that he was like, people were like physically scared of him when on the set, like not just that movie, but like other movies he's done. And like Robert Mitchum, I've heard was another one that people were kind of like
intimidated.
By it's probably the best word. Yeah, that they were just so good. But I don't know if they were method actors, and I don't know enough about actors, so about them in particular. So you came out here to the East Coast.
Yeah.
What are some differences you see?
The people here on the East Coast are great. I grew up in Los Angeles in the 70s and 80s, and I knew all of my neighbors for blocks, either way, north or south, east or west. I couldn't do anything without my mom and dad knowing. They'd say, "Hey, do you know the boys are over in this lot that's being built right now, and they're riding their bikes?" So it was kind of cool. I'm an extrovert, so no matter where I go, I meet people. The most interesting part about coming to the East Coast is when I came out here, like I could be in a library, and if you're sitting next to me, I'm going to strike up a conversation. But being out here, when I was experimenting whether I wanted to move out here or not, everywhere I went, people engaged with me before I had a chance to engage with them. And I liked that. I moved into my new house. The first day, neighbors came over and knocked on the door and said, "Hi, welcome to the neighborhood," which is what it was like in Los Angeles as I was growing up, but it's not like that anymore.
Really?
You're walking down the street and you see somebody, you say, "Hi, how you doing?" They're looking over their shoulder. They want to know what you want from them. But out here, people are just genuinely nice. The traffic is nowhere near what it is in LA, so you can get around in realistic time. There's beautiful trees. The ocean's all around. There's lakes and estuaries. I'm digging Virginia. It's a neat place to be.
Nice. And you've done you've done some trips up to the mountains here too. Have you taken the bike up there yet?
I have not taken the bike up to the mountains, but I plan in the next few weeks. At the end of this month, I'm going to go to Richmond to go see a buddy that bought a bike for me, and I'm going to go stay the night at his place. And we're going to go out and ride. And he's going to show me the places to go around Richmond. He says there's some nice mountains up there. I've gone on a few rides down here. I've been down to North Carolina. I went to Katy Hawk. I went and checked out the hill the original plane took off on. But so far, all the experience that I've had here on the East Coast has been outstanding. I'm born and raised West Coast, and I'm digging being on the East Coast.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. That's great to hear. Your bike now, are you gonna? I know you just got your bike here recently, the Evo. Are you gonna? You have any plans for it? Anything you're gonna upgrade to it or change on it?
I wouldn't necessarily say there's many things I'm gonna change. It does have a cam in there, and I'm not happy with the cam that's in there. I'd like one with a little bit more low end torque. This one, the cam that's in there, wants you to really be in the high RPMs, and it's screaming. But I'm never really in the high RPMs. I don't speed anymore. I'm not a 25-year-old kid trying to be Rocket Man anymore. I'm just, just relaxing and want to get from A to B. And So I'd like a cam that has a little bit more performance on the low end.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. What kind of bike is it again?
It's a 1997 FLHTC. It's been kind of stripped so it looks like the current Street Glide model.
So Electric Glide, Ultra Classic, or
it's
or
no,
just Electric Glide?
Just the Electric Glide Classic.
Yeah, Electric Glide Classic.
Yeah,
nice.
and they stripped out the tour pack, so there's no tour pack on it. So like I said, it's stripped down, kind of looks like a Street Glide, and I absolutely love it.
That's awesome, man.
My neighbors don't. It's quite loud, but I'm trying to be courteous when I'm in my neighborhood.
Yeah, because you're carbureted, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, me too. I worry about that sometimes. Like when I got some neighbors that they're nice people. I don't want to bother them too much, but I'm riding my bike and I don't care if it's early in the morning or not. I try to hurry up with the
noise. I do too. I'll start the bike, let it warm up for a minute, and then I'll kind of cruise down the street and keep it at low RPMs. Normally, by the time I get to the light that lets me exit from my neighborhood, it's warmed up so I can take off from there.
Yeah.
And one of the neatest things the other day, there's a lady that lives across the street, and she's in her mid to late 70s. She's super nice. Before I got my chainsaw to cut the backyard, she offered me to use her chainsaw, and I did, and she's super nice. But the other day I was cleaning my motorcycle, and she walked over and said, "Oh, I really like your bike. I used to have a BMW for 15 or 16 years.
The old lady? Really?
Yeah. And she said, "Oh,
awesome.
I'd love to ride it." And I said, "Well, here's the keys." And she goes, "No, I'm too old to ride it now. But thanks for the offer." I thought it was pretty cool because I would have never expected her. That's the one thing about the motorcycle industry is you never really expect people to ride motorcycles.
Yeah.
And then you find out that they do or they did. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, like you said that, like obviously Ray Liotta rode that bike some, but if you sat Ray Liotta and Dr. Phil in front of me, the first person I would guess to ride one, based on the people he plays in movies, would be more Ray Liotta.
Yeah.
And then you tell me Dr. Phil was the one that was like
Dr. Phil.
He had different types of bikes. This was his first Harley though, but he had been riding for a while.
Yeah, he even put it on his daily talk show host. So in the background behind his chair, he had that bike sitting in his studio.
Did he really?
And he would ride it to and from work.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's really cool.
That is cool. So he actually had it on camera.
Yeah.
Dude, that's awesome. Sweet. Well, Paul, I thank you for your time, man. I know that everyone here is, come on out and meet Paul. Paul's been here 2 months, but I have a feeling Paul's going to be here for a while. He's got some awesome stories, and he's an awesome guy in general.
Yeah, I want to be here for a long time. I love working here. I love my fellow workers. I love the people that I work for. I love this industry. And like I said, we affect people's lives in a positive manner, and that's something you can't replace in another job.
Awesome. Well, thanks a lot, Paul.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. My pleasure.